All right, we are live here at FNGO. It is time for the Livewell lunch break. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Wednesday, October 1st. October 1st. Hump day. It is hump day out there. So hope everybody's doing well. You're not working too hard. This is this is part of the week where we can kind of see what has happened and look forward to what's coming. So I hope you guys really seriously aren't working too hard, and I hope you're having a great day. And we're going to do, there's lots to talk about today. I want to stress, hey, Toys for Tots, December 6th, Lake Lanier, going out of Laurel Park, $5,000 guaranteed first place prize, $80 entry fee, $60 to the pot, $20 to big fish. We're going to pay down from first place, so second place down, depending on how many boats we got. We fully expect to have more boats than we did last year. Last year we had 98. We want to go over 100 this year. So if you guys are in the area, we want you, of course, to sign up and fish with us on December 6th. So what's going on, everybody? And Danny, I'll explain that Phoenix contingency on the Livewell tomorrow night and put a post out on the group page because I thoroughly didn't understand it. I don't have a Phoenix, so there you go. We don't have those in the electric only world. Let's see. Physical therapy. Coleman's at physical therapy day. We'll tell you nurses we said hello. Big Bait John is rigging up for Friday, going to chase some big ones. Yeah, listen. The weather ought to be perfect. Perfect for this weekend. Whether you're fishing, hunting, you're going picnicking because your wife's making you go, whatever it is you're going to be doing, it's going to be absolutely perfect for you guys. So I don't know yet. I think I'm going to go hunting. Last night's show, 100%. We had a great live well last night with Dashawn. And it's always fun when he comes up. He's funny. Now, again, I tell everybody, you guys don't get to experience everything within the 2-hour, constraints of the podcast on YouTube. Sometimes the funniest stuff is before the show or after the show. And those are the best conversations. So you're always welcome, again, if you're in the area, to come sit in on the podcast, hang out with us. But I enjoyed Dashawn last night. I enjoyed talking to him. We shared, I'm a funny guy. He's a funny guy. We had a lot of laughs before. What's up, Cody? I'm trying to get out Sunday, Tyler says. If I can, I may be picking my boat up this weekend, though, which is sweet. Well, I hope you get your boat. And Jeff said he enjoyed last night's podcast. When you do a fishing podcast, it's an interesting dynamic when you try to get guests. I have access to a lot of the pros that I can get on and a lot of the great local anglers. And then sometimes we just do the guys, just depending on whether we can get guests. While I love pros, sometimes to me the best shows are the local guys, just an everyday guy like you and I. And Dashawn's got, he's a great angler. He's in the, he's a reservist. And so he serves our country, but he's just funny. And sometimes I enjoy those podcasts better. Now, I'm going to get some pros coming on because we always can learn from them. But sometimes it's just we relate to certain people. You know what I'm saying? I relate to overweight 40, 50-year-olds. But I feel like I'm a chameleon and I can relate to guys like Clint and Dashawn that are younger than me. But it's always good to get them on, get their perspectives. And I'm telling you, I was really like, there's a couple things he said last night. He is awesome. I helped him get his job. More the TikTok things are coming. I helped him get his job. He waited at currently, or he's working at currently. Yeah, he's a good kid. I like him. I worked at. There you go. The Spybait thing. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Threw me for a loop. And he told me that before the show, and I was like, really? So we'll talk about the Spybait thing as well, but glad you guys are here. Hey, listen, a little bit of news. Some of you I know have heard. I don't know how many baseball fans we got out there, but I am one. And so Brian Snicker of the Braves is going to step down. Will not be back next year. Now, like everybody, there are always two camps. There are those that are glad he is leaving. And then there are those that we appreciate what you've done, with the Braves and all that. And even, one guy made a comment today. Of course, guys, you know me, I'm a comment reader. It's what I do. It's what I do. But one guy said, best day ever in his comment. And I got to thinking, best day ever. Because Brian Snicker's not going, the news dropped that Brian Snicker's not going to come back. That's your best day ever? Like, even I know you're being, you're being over the top with the comment. Really? Is it that big of a deal to you? The man didn't do a bad job. And he still will be, he's still going to hang around as an advisory role. And so my question to you guys is, who do you want? And we'll get to the fishing talk, but you know how we do on this show. Who do you want to manage the Braves? What's up, Ed? Do you guys want somebody from inside the organization, or somebody that's had a history with the organization at some point, or somebody brand new? Somebody brand new. Rumor is it's Walt Weiss. He wouldn't be my pick, but I wouldn't be disappointed with him. Snit's time come and went. He was a dang good manager, and he got us a ring. I do think it's time for a fresh face. He probably feels the same way too. Being a professional baseball player, the travel and the time, there's a lot involved with it. And the manager, and you got to deal with. Imagine if you had all those personalities that you had to deal with. There's always one or two that's just like, we try to love everybody, but there's always one or two people around you that I just don't click with that guy. James Weber says Dusty Baker. I don't know about that. He's kind of old. Kyle T says, give me Greg Maddux. Mad Dog right there. I see Mark DeRosa would be a good replacement, I think. Would love for Wash to come back, but that won't happen. I think he's got too many health problems. He's a little, he's on the older side. I do think when Washington was here, he had a great relationship with the players. Great relationship with the players. And so I get why people want that, but I think his health problems, and I think his age that's got to be a determining factor. Silverpunk and I are fishing Lake Oconee tomorrow, getting ready for our GAKFL championship on November 1st. Any juice, guys? Anything on Lake Oconee you guys want to throw out there that we can throw towards John G? Christopher Page, I like the local shows. Yeah, I do too. The thing is, you got to balance it where we're trying to grow as well. You understand that. From a business side, I want this podcast to grow and be national at some point. Maybe not the lunch break, but the Livewell. So you kind of have to grow in your business model and your business plan. You have to have people that attract people from a wide variety of places. Guys out in Oregon probably do not care about spotted bass on Lake Lanier as much as we do, and we love it. So for sure. Now, there are places like, northern Alabama, and we've noticed some places like Maryland, and they fish similar to us, so it's easy to get those guys. But, I'd like to be the Joe Rogan of the outdoor world. I'd like to just interview everybody, just do nothing but podcast 24 hours a day because I like to talk. And there are some interesting people, but I do enjoy the local ones. Tyler says, Mark Richt wasn't that bad. Georgia only went below 500 once in his whole tenure, if I'm not wrong. So somebody must have said something about Mark Richt up there. James said, I wouldn't mind a manager under 70. Yeah. Chipper said no because of his kids. I don't know that I'd want Chipper to be a manager. Oregon has some monster spotted bass, to be fair. Okay, Tyler, I just threw that out. See, it shows you how much I know. I just said I picked one state, and it happened to be one that had spotted bass. Kent says, me for 1 year, I can fish anytime I want after that. I'd love to manage them. I think I'd be a hell of a manager. I know the game well enough. I'm not a professional thing, but you can see me at a press conference afterwards. I just tell you like it is. We couldn't hit for shit tonight. I probably wouldn't be. AA probably wouldn't like me. Probably wouldn't like me. He couldn't hit a bullet in the ass if he was riding it. Talking about my starting pitcher. Probably wouldn't be good. But I'll tell you this. Do you want a player's manager, or do you want a hardcore come in? I don't know. Let's just say, I'm trying to think of some examples. Would you want a Brett Boone type of the Yankees? Would you want somebody like him? Or, Is Craig Counsell still with Milwaukee? Somebody like that they take up for their players, but they're fiery. Because I think that's one thing that people didn't like about Snit was he's kind of like, he just let the game play out and all that. He wasn't Bobby Cox. We were used to Bobby Cox being out there and just arguing everything. And then, when we finally get up here to Snit, and Snit's kind of, he was successful, but he was kind of, his demeanor, it took a lot to fire him up. We need Buttermaker. 100%, Dustin. Buttermaker. We need that. Bring back the Bad News Bears. Is it Buttermaker or Boilermaker? Which one was it? It's been a while since I've seen that. Buttermaker? I remember seeing that. Now, the original Bad News Bears is far better than the remake because it's kind of like the movie Blazing Saddles. They couldn't make Blazing Saddles today, and you guys know why. But back then in the 70s and all that, you could pretty much get away with anything when you're making a movie. Give me a Don Zimmer type for sure. Let's see. Atlanta Outdoors. I'm 32 and watched all of his career. You guys must be talking about Mark Rick and football up there. I miss that. But anyway, they probably would have. You guys, that Georgia football is in the comment section. We ain't even talking Georgia football. You guys are having your own conversation. Tyler and Atlanta Outdoors. Y'all throw me off when I try to read comments, keep up with you guys. And then I'm like, what are they even talking about? I think it's important to let the players play the way they want while also having the old school feel. DeRosa can do that. DeRosa's name has been mentioned quite a few times. But, hey, just, scrolling through social media, and I saw that. What's up, Ron? Ron will give us an answer. Ron, who do you want to be the next manager of the Atlanta Braves? And Tyler, listen, I love football. I love it. Y'all just mess me up in the comment sections when I'm trying to read, and then I'm like, I don't even know what they're going at. But y'all continue to talk. 100%. Oh, Atlanta Outdoors said, I said people hated on Mark Rick making a comparison to Snit. Okay, I missed the comment. That makes sense now. Mark Rick was a nice guy. He's a good guy. But Ron Swinford, since you're watching, and I know you were invested in the Braves and have followed them closely, who do you want? Who do you want to manage the Atlanta Braves next year? What's up, Cletus? And it's okay. You guys can talk Georgia football right there. We'll get back to that. Now, Ron says Mark DeRosa would be a good fit. He is relatable since he's a former Brave, but he has been gone long enough to be an outsider. How's his temperament? How's his temperament? Is he? I mean, how would you compare him to a manager that's in the game now, from Brett Boone to whatever? I mean, and I tell you what, I didn't keep up with all of them, but I got home. It was the other night, and I just turned on Sports Center, and then I think it was for Monday Night Football. It might have been Monday night. I turned on one of the games, and then how they scroll the news on the bottom, and it was manager fired, manager fired, manager fired, will remain in an advisory role, kind of like Snit. And do you think this was Snit's decision, or do you think it was like, hey, we know we need to make some changes. It might be better if you just say that, and we'll keep you on as an advisor. Or do you think it was truly he's like, guys, I'm done. Tim Wyatt, John Rocker, let's go. I had John Rocker on X the other day because I follow him, and I'm trying to get him on the show. Like, I know John Rocker fishes a little bit, but I think that might be one of the more challenging and possibly entertaining interviews I've ever done. But I did reach out to John Rocker and say, hey, Daniel Fish, North Georgia, would love for you to come sit in on the podcast. What's the best way to cook rainbow trout that's been field cleaned? Just the guts removed. Cast iron and butter. If you're doing it in the field, put it on open fire. What would you guys do? How would y'all cook rainbow trout that's been field cleaned, just the guts removed, so the whole trout? But yeah, Tim, I think he would be fun. Oh, he's cooking it at home. Go to the Real American Road Trip, season 2, where we were down and we cooked some sea trout by stuffing it with butter and herbs and everything. And then we tied it all up on the inside and put it in the oven. I don't remember what it's called, but you put butter on anything with these herbs and everything, just like Chef Dave down at St. Simon's Island. We tried to recreate his cooking. Now, that was with the sea trout, but it can't be that much difference. I'd like to have Wash back if he's healthy. Could you see John? I mean, Tim Watson got my brain moving right there. Could you see John Rocker? Like, as if they announce tomorrow, you got a press conference. Everybody's like, they're getting ready to announce the new manager of the Atlanta Braves. And out comes AA. And he's got John Rocker in tow, and they sit down. Could you imagine we talk about divisiveness and the buzz and everything, but, and if you follow Rocker on X, let's just say he hasn't changed. He's as colorful as ever. Personally, I think he's probably still doing a little of the roids or something like that. But I really am. I know I reach out to a lot of people that you guys don't know about, but he is one. He is one that I have reached out because I was just like, I'd like to drink a beer with John Rocker and just find out what goes on in that head of his. Now, we all remember what he did back with the Braves, whether you agree with what he said or not or whatever, but I still remember watching that first game back in New York. If you guys remember it, when he came in, like some of the Braves, like when he went out to the mound, some of the Braves actually stayed in the dugout and waited. Like they wanted to see what happened. They didn't know if bottles were going to fly or whatever. But I still remember John, and he walked out there. He did not care. I want to go for a ride down 400 with him. Oh, I can't even imagine, Tim. I'm going to work on that. I will see if I can get John Rocker in here for you guys. But I imagine if I got John Rocker in here, a lot of you guys would come up here and actually watch live. And that might be one of those at the beginning of the show. All right, listen, guys. Two things. The expressed views of the guest tonight are not Fish North Georgia's. They are his own. And also, if you have young children, you're probably going to hear some words tonight that we don't normally use in bulk. It might come out every once in a while, but tonight they're going to come out in bulk. So I can tell you right now, if you follow him on X, every Friday night and Saturday night, he puts out a post about, 8 o'clock. And it's simply this: what are we drinking tonight? And that's it. And that's all he puts out there. And then he get guys, and he does comment on the political landscape of things. But I remember that night. I remember Chipper and them kind of standing right at the top of the stairs, letting John go out there when they went out for the next inning, and just kind of like, let's just see. But the dude was crazy. And he actually was very good. I mean, he was a very good pitcher. John Rocker's a home run's worst nightmare. John Rocker loves foreigners from what I hear. Yeah, for sure. Dustin says Greg Maddux. I like Mad Dog too. I don't know how good of a coach he would be. Because, when you're really like one of the best in the world or the best that's ever played. I mean, could you imagine if Greg Maddux was your pitching coach? And you got to get out on the mound and Maddux is sitting behind you going, no. No, that's not how you do it. No. I mean, if you watch the videos of Greg Maddux and you've seen those videos where he just cusses after a pitch, like he was hard on himself. I can't imagine if he was like your pitching coach or your manager. Maddux is cerebral and plays chess while most are playing checkers. He was that guy. And he pitched. Nowadays, they just want you to rear back, throw 99 and try to throw a strike and don't hit the guy. Did y'all see that the other night? It was a guy for Detroit in the American League that's like an amazing pitcher. And his name escapes me right now. But the gentleman turned a bunt. He turned a bunt. And it just hit the bat the wrong way. I mean, straight in the noodle, man. He took 98, 99 straight to the noodle. Just forward facing. If there is ever a term for forward facing, it's what happened to that guy when that baseball come off that bat. Holy Toledo. I got hit in high school. Fastest kid I ever faced in high school because I didn't play college. I went straight to beer league softball where it slows down. But the fastest kid I faced in high school, and I don't remember his name, but he pitched for Lumpkin County, and everybody said he threw about 91, maybe 92. Big, tall, lanky kid. I saw one pitch. It went straight into my thigh. And it got there in a hurry, like a BB. But going to first, I was in a little bit better shape back then, worked out, had some muscle on my legs back then. Going to first, and I remember Coach Tassitano. He was from Boston. down here in the South, coaching first base for us. He's like, don't rub it, man. Don't let him see. Don't rub it. Don't let him see you hurt. Okay, fine, coach. I got you. Stayed right there. 3 days later, we played West Jackson or something like that. Kid threw about as hard as I did. Little rinky-dink, 60-mile-an-hour curveball or something. First pitch. It hit me in that same spot. I like to have died. I had this green bruise that lasted for about a month on my thigh, just from that kid. And that was 91, 92. I couldn't imagine taking one to the chops at 98, 99. I mean, you guys would be reading about me the next day because, yeah, charged the mound. Good Lord. And I get to Patricia's thing. That some people actually want to talk fishing. But, yeah, dude, that was like terrible. But, Rocker, he threw like that. Now, somebody said, what's that? I'll take Kyle Farnsworth as a pitching bench coach. Wasn't Farnsworth the guy that all of a sudden he got the yikes and ended up playing in the outfield? Is that who I'm thinking about? Was he that pitcher that was amazing and then one day couldn't pitch and was out of the game and then came back? Didn't he play for the Braves for a little bit? Back in the early 2000s, 2010. I don't study the history, but I think there was one of the guys like that. I don't know if that was him or not. But the name sounds. I wouldn't charge the man. Oh, you didn't charge the man? You didn't charge in high school. No, Farnsworth was a bad dude. Yeah, if we had Rocker and Farnsworth, the coaches are out there fighting. You ain't even got to worry about the players taking care of it. The coaches are out there. And it's kind of like what we said yesterday. I think they should let the NPFL guys fight. But that's what they need to do in baseball. Let the coaches go at it. That way the players don't get kicked out of the game. Let the coaches go. I know Ronald Acuna, and that's about it. Tyler said, listen, yeah, I know. But it's been a hot minute. Let's say Braves won't be good for a while. Los Angeles Dodgers buying out the best talent. Well, listen, it didn't work for the Mets. Now, maybe they didn't pick as good a talent as the Dodgers have, but what they had, what they give, what's his name, Soto, 700-something million? I'll bat 200 for 700 million. Actually, if you just give me their per diem money, I'll get up there and strike out and look like a fool. Kenny Powers for sure. Let's see. I know Patricia had something. 23 elite anglers took 53% of the money home in the NPFL. Well, see, I would look at it this way. Do you consider them elite anglers if they're fishing in a tournament? I mean, to me, they're NPFLians. You know what I'm saying? I when Patrick Walters is fishing for the NPFL, do you say Bassmaster Elite Patrick Walters won the NPFL event? Or do you say, hey, the NPFL event was won by Patrick Walters? So I do get what you're saying. They came in and won a lot of the money. But at that point, they're part of the club. I'm thinking about Rick Ankiel. Okay, that's who I'm thinking about. Okay, yeah, I remember there was a guy got the gyps. Farnsworth, though, yeah, Farnsworth was – and what's that guy that pitched for the Dodgers, too? In fact, when they got Ohtani, he gave up his jersey number, and then Ohtani bought his wife a Porsche. But he's that one with glasses. Joe something, always, fussing around, always making comments at the batter. He had a pretty, spirited attitude. He was spirited. That's what I think that is one thing. The Braves are nice. If we have to say anything about the Braves, is like the players are very nice towards the other players. And we never would if somebody hit we never retaliated the way that I think we should. Now, let's see. Let me get up to Rob. Oh, I like Rob. Patricia, you must know a lot. By the way, I was that 47% that took the rest of the money. Rob, there you go. There you go. You like that NPFLians? I mean, what do you call them? NPFL anglers? I like NPFLians. For sure. But again, that's just one thing. How do you quantify it? Do you call them a Bassmaster Elite if they're fishing in an NPFL event? Because I think you got to kind of figure that out. But I do get what you're saying. The new guys come in and won pretty good. Yeah, for sure. 83% of FNGO listeners have some sort of addiction problem. 83%. Is it just 83%? Is that all you're going to give us is 83%? All right, Luke Duncan will be stealing my MPF alien comment. Oh, okay, listen, I'll go ahead and give him permission. Luke Duncan, you have my permission to use any slang that I say on this show. MPF alien. Now, Clint, if we're going to do that, the problem is while most of you have an addiction of some sort, now Tyler says it may be closer to 97%. I mean, what are you guys? I hope you're not addicted to me. You guys, there's a better class of people to be addicted to out there, but you know what I'm saying. It is fun. Yeah, we do. We all got our own shit. Rob Robleski, I enjoyed fishing against him. Goes to show that I can hang with the best. 100%. He's drunk now, 98% Dustin. That is one thing. Now, when the MPFL announced that they were doing away with forward-facing sonar, and then all of a sudden you got this, because you got to realize too, Patrick and Drew and some of them were already there. There's plenty of them that had already fished both, you know, were fishing both events. But you did have a new influx of guys come in. But you did have some guys on the MPFL that were there before all this, that they hung strong. They did well. And again, Rob, that's why I'm proud of you, man. Seriously. 100%. And some of them didn't do as good this year as they had in previous years without forward-facing sonar. And it kind of levels out and evens out, but it was excellent to watch. I personally think the MPFL is on their way up, man, with what they're doing. And again, we've talked about it. I think they'll grow into an organization that has a feeder system. Because, you know, it does lend to, I don't use the word legitimacy because the MPFL is legit as it is. But I do think there is people in this world that's like, well, you know, anybody can go fish it. Well, that's not true. That's not true. You hear anybody with money can go fish. That's not true. You still have to be approved. Like, I mean, Charles Manson was a professional fisherman and got out and he was still alive and he was fishing and he had $1 million. The MPFL is not going to let him fish. You still got to be vetted. But I get it. I think they will grow. I mean, you got to realize, what is it? They've only been around 5 years. I think this was the 5th season, or next year's the 5th season, one of the two. How long's Bass been around? And how long is, you know, FLW, MLF, how long has all that been around? And so to get this much notoriety in such a short amount of time speaks volumes, if you ask me. Have they had hiccups? Yeah, for sure. Who hasn't? And see, Rob, that's what I said. Apparently people don't give us respect because we didn't qualify for it. I think in time that's going to, you know, that's going to be an old argument and go away. You guys are talking about what we're addicted to up there. Clint's misusing the peanut butter. Patricia wants to know who's coming next year. I don't know. We might can figure that out. Caffeine. Probably drink a pot of coffee a day and pre-workout energy drinks some days when I hit the gym. If you took my blood right now and I'm even eating better, it would still be nicotine, caffeine with a side of gravy. I know Clint's probably going, no, Danny, you don't need that gravy. And Clint, I've done a lot better. I'm still losing weight. I'm down 10 pounds, taking it all slow this time. Hopefully it'll stick. But it takes a while to get all that out of your body. Now, the caffeine and the nicotine ain't going nowhere. The gravy has been embedded for 50 years. It's going to take a hot minute, but I'm trying. I also ran 20 miles back to the ramp to get my Copenhagen I left in the truck. I will do that. I'll get up a tree stand. I'll walk 2 miles back in the wood, get up a climbing tree stand, and if I ain't got it, I'm going back. Sorry, guys. I may spook every deer within 20 miles. I'm not doing that. Can't do it. Won't do it. It's like the old Ric Flair comment, to be the best, you have to beat the best. Many of the MPFL guys did that this year, just that. Yeah. And listen, I'm telling you, like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of names that you may not recognize in the MPFL, but if I'm being honest, I couldn't name you every Bassmaster Elite right now, and I definitely couldn't do it with the MLF guys. I can give you the top, but I can't name all of them. The And the word lower level is not applicable. That's not what I mean, but you guys know what I'm saying. Everybody can say G-man. Okay. Big Bass Burt, buzzbait or whopper plopper or kicking toad? Buzzbait. Ricky Bobby, what brand and color buzzbait is your go-to this time of year? I like black, and if I'm not catching anything on black, I throw black, and if black ain't working, I throw black, and then I might throw white. I'm just one of those guys. I like black. A lot of guys throw white. What color buzzbaits you guys throwing right now? So I can tell Ricky Bobby over there on TikTok. I can throw black and clear water. Honestly, Ricky Bobby, and I catch them. I do it over at Latham. I throw a black buzzbait at Latham. Works just fine. It's pretty clear. Without nicotine and caffeine, I don't think I'd make it through the workday, Lane Holt, no doubt. Like I told my wife, straight silver always works for me. That's not a bad color. Not a bad color at all. I don't go too crazy, and I don't think most guys go too crazy when it comes to buzzbaits. Everybody keeps it pretty simple, and it's also, what you got confidence in for sure. But I have had guys bring a buzzbait. What's my go-to buzzbait trailer? If I'm being honest, I don't use one. I throw a little stinger hook or a trailer hook on there and let them hit the good grief, I tie jigs, the silicone, the skirt. I very rarely throw a buzzbait trailer. I know a lot of guys do. I know a lot of guys that don't. I do not. So you guys too, I'll get down there and you can comment on that as I catch up with the comments on YouTube. The government is shut down. Okay, you ain't going to get them park rangers out there if you go to Yellowstone or something like that. But I will tell you this. It is affecting a little bit. You guys have kind of seen certain people talk about permits on Lake Lanier being very hard to get. Well, if you go local, yeah. I talked to the Mobile office today. I was talking to my contacts out there about the Toys for Tots. And but we did have a conversation about the shutdown is kind of basically it's not shutting the core down or nothing like that, but they do have to kind of pull resources from here to cover certain things. I seen a video of Gerald Swindle using a Z-Crawl and tried it. It works fantastic for some reason. Well, I mean, yeah, it very well could. I just have never done it. I've been throwing a buzzbait off and on, I guess, since the 80s, and I've never done it. I might have tried it, but I don't know. Better is good, Danny. I'm getting better, bud. Caffeine, nicotine, bass, and lifting, running, and being broke. I'm right there with you. Just throw marriage in there. Bass has been here since 1969, FLW since the 80s, and the MPFL is 4 or 5 years old. And when people talk about the national trails out there, what do they talk about? What do you see it in the comment section? It'll be Bass, the MLF, and the MPFL. So if you ask me, in the 4 years or 5 years they've been around, they have made a hell of a statement, especially over the last 2 years. A hell of a statement. I'm addicted to chocolate. I hate my climbing stand. It's so loud, and I'm not leaving it out on public land. And listen, as you get older, they're harder to climb. I could name 90% of Bassmaster's roster, because I'm a nerd, could name 5% of the MLF roster. And I probably could name maybe 50% of the MPFL. If I started writing them down, definitely I definitely could do 30 to 40 anglers for sure. And probably if I thought about it hard enough, I bet I could get 50 or 60 in the MPFL. MLF, I might could give you 10. And that's a knock on me for not, that's my fault more so than it is theirs. I just haven't followed it. Black buzz with a toad, white buzz with a skirt, then white buzz with a toad. In that order. Robert Nuremberg says, black bushwhacker. Yeah. Now, Patricia Leanne Shaw says there's a certain age group winning the money. Now, Patricia, I see you traveling fishing. Appreciate you swinging by for a minute. Like, you really pay attention a lot more than I do, for sure, on some of this stuff. I know you're looking into it a lot. I just don't. At the end of the day, if I'm being honest, and this probably is not the best thing for somebody that runs a fishing podcast, it's going to sound bad. I like the guys. I don't really care about how do I want to say this? Like, I just don't waste wasting time is not the right word. I have better things to do. And I'm not saying you don't. When I prioritize what I want to pay attention to, I don't really look into the stats of the professional fishing league. I look at the guys and I'm like, I like that dude. I don't like that dude. I can root for him. I don't really care for that guy. And that's kind of the way I'm a very simple man when it comes to that. I don't get too deep. I like Rob. He's like my favorite Cuban or whatever he is. And Rob, I say that. I'm joking around. I love you. But seriously, I don't do stats when it comes to fishing. And I know a lot of guys do. I'm not a stat junkie. I watch it to see if the guys that I know and the guys that I like are catching fish. And if they're competing and contending. I couldn't even tell you what the payouts were outside of the first place prize on most of it. Now, I'll talk to Rob or one of them guys like, hey, I'm going to cut a check. And I'm like, that is awesome. I never ask him, how much, dude? And so when you get these guys that have come into the NPFL, I know their names, I know their reputations, but I have not really paid that much attention to like age classes or, what you're saying. I'm very simple. Do I like you? Do I not like you? And when I say that, we're not talking personal. I'm like, do you have the personality? Are you the kind of angler that I can root for? And if you are, hey, I'll root for you. If you're not, then I just don't pay that much attention to you. I guess that's the better way to say it. I don't pay attention to a lot of those guys. Big Long Johns, for anyone who has fished a spinnerbait, not an inline spinner in a farm pond, should I worry about getting snagged if I let it sink a second or two before reeling? No, let it sink. Spinnerbaits actually, they're not the easiest thing to get hung up. I mean, you got to work on it if you throw it right. But I grew up throwing them in a farm pond that had more, it looked like, it was a 1 acre Toledo Bend. Good afternoon, Peg Leg. How you doing, buddy? Now, Rob says that's 20 to 50-year-olds. That's a wide variety of age. Like, I honestly couldn't answer that question. Rob, I don't even know how old you are. I actually put a watermelon red flake skirt on my buzz baits, Jeff Brazil. That's different. I ain't seen that. Doug Rice says, I'm not a very nice person if I don't have nicotine and caffeine, for sure. Atlanta Outdoors says his buzz bait, chartreuse and red, black and white. Sometimes a dark green buzz if I don't have black. Ain't it crazy how we all have our confidence colors? Cam says they shut down Fort Walton campground down by Pensacola today. Listen, it ain't gonna be closed long. It's just not. We're supposed to fish Lanier this weekend, and I wonder if the Corps of Engineer ramps will be open. The ones that are open, I think, according to what he told me, are still going to be open. Per my conversation today, because look, if we're being honest, ain't nobody there anyway. I think they should be fine. That's something we might need to look into. At jury duty for the third day in a row and not fishing is almost worse than being at work. I never get picked for jury duty. My wife wants to get picked for jury duty, but the problem is my wife knows everybody in Dawson County or either kept their kid or whatever. And so she never gets picked. She is dying to be on a jury. And if you get a jury with my wife and you're male, you're guilty. If you see, you better get your lawyer. You better get your lawyer to figure out a way to get Amanda Pruitt off that jury because you're going down. Like, she is so trigger happy to be on a jury. She would be, seriously, like, them ones that get sequestered for like a month long? Like, my wife would love that. She's a little off-centered. She would love that. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. I know it's our civic duty, and if I have to, I will. And I get the letter and I go up there. Would she let me go with the same last name? No, listen, because her maiden name's Perkins. She married a Pruitt, and she ain't going to tell you that it's exactly the best thing in a decision she's ever made. So you probably got a strike against you just having the last name Pruitt. Hire a female lawyer. Don't do that. I hired a female lawyer in my first divorce. I lost my dog and my waders. Boys, until you've lost your fishing waders in a divorce, you have no idea. That's been a hot minute. That's been a long, long, long time ago. Trailers on a skirted buzz bait that I use. Z-Crawl Jr., Strike King Rage Bug, the mid-size one, or a soft swim bait. Those flatter trailers make it easier to skip under things. Big Hairy Balls is laughing at me. I did, dude. I lost my fishing waders. And my dog. Sing that country song backwards and you get everything back. Yeah, I don't think that's how it works. I don't want to go back. I like where I'm at now. Hanging there, Jeremiah, Ron said. We're all making fishing great again. Keep reeling, guys and gals. Weekend weather's looking good. Dustin says, for sure. Now, Big Harry Bowles, B-O-L-Z, with the fancy little squiggly line over the O. My buddy lost his Yeti in a divorce, and he had a woman lawyer. I'm not saying all women lawyers are bad. That one on that movie, on that TV show, she's like a firecracker. The one with old Billy Bob, the oil field, whatever that show is. She seems like she's kind of feisty. See you later, Doug. Rob, not going to tell his age. Rob, how old are you? I think he's in his 30s. Must have made her very mad to take somebody's waiters. Like Landman, that's the name of the show, Landman. That woman lawyer in Landman, she's kind of feisty. But no, I think I don't know how I lost him. I just lost him. My ex-wife did me such a favor by leaving. I wish I knew where she was so I could send her more money. Oh, me. No, listen, I'm perfectly content. I know that you don't ever wish divorce on anybody, but that's probably the best thing that could ever happen to me. Because I look back on that now. You ever look back on your life and you're thinking, okay, well, if I didn't do this or I didn't do that, like I look back and I think, you know what? I wouldn't have my kids. I sure wouldn't be talking to you guys here today. I mean, you ever thought if you go back and just change one decision in your life, and it could be a major one, it could be a mid-major one. I don't know if minor ones matter. But like if you change one decision, if you go back and say, if I had to do it all over again, you do realize that it was set in motion things, and you would not be here probably watching the show today. And there was no way I'd give up my kids or anything like that. So I definitely wouldn't go back because I'd be afraid that would happen. But have you ever thought about that? Just like, what if? What if? Then you may be happy where you're at now. You might not be happy where you're at now. You might be one of those that, hey, I should have done this. But to be where we are in this current moment, as those mentalists and New Age spiritualists say, we're in the now right here. If you change one thing, you're not here now. You're somewhere else. We ain't talking. So there's no way in the world. Like, if I could dream it, I'd go back and I'd have a lot more money now. But if I could do that and keep my current family intact and everything, and you guys and all that, just wouldn't happen that way. Was she the same size as you? Like, no, she didn't fish. She didn't fish at all. All bad things lead us to good things. So in every situation is a blessing in its own way, for sure. I agree with that. It's a bigger waste of time, too, because the amount of charges the dude has, he's definitely going to jail. So like Jeremiah, you're on jury duty. Like, I don't know if you're supposed to be saying that in a public forum, are you? I mean, if we think about that, don't you think a good lawyer could say, hey, listen, juror number 11 was on the FNGO lunch break podcast, and he basically said dude was guilty already. We haven't even had closing arguments. You might want to be careful. You never know who watches this show. Or you could be like Randy Blockett's friends, co-angler. Somebody might rat you out, and then you can make videos. My ex-wife has to pay me child support. Lawyer up. No, that wouldn't happen. Luckily for me, it was just fresh out of high school. And then I met Amanda, and it's been great. They got to hunt and fish. That's on you if they don't. You either choose it or fail to teach it. Yeah, I get it. Atlanta Outdoor said, he's not, but I'm not snitching. Like, Jeremiah, you're not supposed to be saying that, my man. You are not supposed to be. Like, Jeremiah, you got your phone out and you're in the courtroom, or you're on your lunch break? Oh, man, I could see that. Especially if it was a high-profile case Jeremiah's on. And we basically ruin it, the entire thing. It is like a, the perfect textbook, here's the charges, he did it case. And yet the guy might be walking because Jeremiah decided to talk to us today on the podcast. And we see it on the 12 o'clock news. And then I'm going to get interviewed. I'm going to get interviewed by the news. And I'm going to like, you know what? Hey, listen, we invite everybody to join in on us. And, I don't know what I would say to that. Atlanta Outdoor said, I had a murder case when I was in college. It was rough. I bet so. especially if you have to go back and look at pictures and hear the details and stuff. I bet that would be very tough. Local fishing podcast causes corruption in murder trial today at 5 on Channel 2 Action News. And listen, you know what? Hey, I'd look at, hey, as long as it gets clicks and views, man, that's all it's about right here. You know, we're on YouTube. We need those views. That would be funny. Oh, my Lord, Cam. Cam, you put everything out there, buddy. That's why I refuse to marry my old lady until she signs a prenup. It's the longest engagement in history. 12 years together with a ring on it, but no papers. Didn't have that in my on my bingo card for today. She don't get tired of you. I mean, I'm surprised. 12 years is a long time for a woman to wait, and it's a long time for you to wait on papers. Oh, how do you feel about fishing tournaments doing polys? I think it's dumb. I mean, honestly, like seriously, I just if something's not admissible in court. I know there's only so many options they got, Big Harry. Do you know how weird I feel by saying Big Harry? But Big Harry, I don't know what options they have. Honestly, I really don't know what other options they have. But I mean, there are some people in this world that are just socially awkward and high anxiety people. You start hooking them up to a machine, I don't know that they could pass it if they were telling the truth. Maybe don't read Jeremiah's comments while he's on jury duty. Hey, listen, it's out in a public forum, baby. It's fair game. It's fair game, Stephen. I've been paid by the defense team to, it's all a big conspiracy, right? It's actually the 4th time I've been picked, and it's always a murder charge. This guy has like 6 charges, and it's for attempted robbery, 2 unalives, and some more stuff. Good Lord, Jeremiah. Like, in all seriousness, like, you really might not need to be on here. Like, you really might not. I mean, I'm just joking, but you might not need to be on here. So listen, here's the reason why Cam wants a prenup. This man's got his priorities in order. She ain't getting my fishing gear. The man has been with his woman for 12 years, will not marry her until she signs a prenup because he values his fishing gear, and she's not getting it should they part ways in the future. I commend you on that. But, it's slightly crazy and off-centered, if you get my drift. But that's pretty funny. Rob is actually 40 in my prime and smacking cheeks. Oh, good Lord, Rob. What is prime years now? I think it changes every decade. It changes. The 40 is a new 30, 50 is a new 40. Like, I'm 53. My body feels 53. My mind feels 18. Am I past my prime? Do I have any good years to look forward to? I mean, where am I going with this? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? And I don't mean that light where the Lord is looking down at me saying, come on. Is there something to look forward to? Am I basically used up? I'll be in my prime at 48, Cletus says. Again. Tyler says, Cam, if she would have screwed it, let me read that again. She would have screwed you over already. Get married to her. Jeremiah says, man, with the stuff he's facing, he's going to jail regardless of how any of us feel about it. Just let me out of here. This Bassmaster magazine in my hand and the podcast has me itching. Like, we have to be breaking some Georgia state law somehow. And he goes, no, it's a joke. Okay, Cam said, it's a joke. We're talking about making it official next spring. Truth be told, it's just a damn paper at the end of the day. Now, same old story, Stephen Surgeon says, for sure. Your mind writes checks your body can't cash. That might be the most truthful statement of anything that's been said today. Honestly, it is. I mean, you guys, a lot of you guys are young. And I call you kid. When you come in the shop or something, I say, what's up, kid? You're young. I will tell you, as you get older, when you're young, there is some leeway. when writing those checks. And some of the things, you have time that you can recover from it. When you get to 50, those checks are they're a lot harder when they bounce. Honestly, they're a lot harder. You mess up at 50, it just takes, now we're not, you could say physical. I'm just talking about everything. It just takes it just takes a long time, and it is harder to recover from. I'm getting old fast. My back is starting to hurt. Tyler, you're 19, dude. At 19, my back was hurting for different reasons. You ain't getting old. I would go to a casino and light all my money on fire before I lost half of it to a divorce. I'm sure guys have tried that before. 20 to 50 ages are the prime of fishing. Before that, you're sucking on a pacifier. After that, you should be collecting social. Rob's basically telling you I'm past my prime on fishing, which makes sense. Speaking of bouncing, how did your roof repair go? I have to do the permanent one this weekend. The rain came in yesterday. Oh, it was okay. Survived that, but I got to do the permanent one this weekend. If any of you are with Pepsi, I sure could use a Pepsi sponsorship. Atlanta Outdoors, issue with speaking about it is you're supposed to, he's talking about why Jeremiah shouldn't be doing this. The issue with speaking about it is you're showing and displaying bias, which you're not supposed to do, even though we all may think it. A judge could penalize you with contempt. Jeremiah, how much money you got? How much money you got? We got to find out where Jeremiah's on jury duty. I think now is the time that we could get a few dollars out of him. You can get out of bed quick when you get old and be hurting. I know. Message, I'm super late, but I always thought of Spybait. What's a topwater lure like a devil's? Okay, listen, we didn't even talk Spybaits, have we? That's the way the show goes. 52 minutes in, and we have yet to talk about a Spybait. So you always thought a Spybait was a topwater lure like a devil's horse. Well, I mean, I get why you say that. The problem is it's weighted, it sinks, and they generally sink at a rate of about a foot per second. That is from an 80,000 feet perspective. Some a little faster, some a little slower. But they generally sink. Now, the prop on the front spins one way. The prop on the back spins the other way, which helps to hold it in that water column if you reel it at a steady, slow pace. They're really finessey. They got a lot of small hooks on them. I mean, you don't get big Spybaits the size of jerkbait. Doc said I had to Google Spybait last night. Yeah. Tony says, if I have to get in the bed of my truck, I make life decisions when getting back out. One of the only times I use algebra and geometry. Now, that's funny, but honestly, it's true. Very, very true. I jumped out of a truck about a month ago and landed, just jumped and landed on 2 feet. Now, first of all, I noticed how much harder my feet hit the ground than normal. But then my knees were like, bro, let's don't do that again. Let's don't do that again. It is a life decision, Tony, and you're right. But the way guys work these Spybaits up here, again, think about Lake Lanier, brush piles deep, and like he was saying last night, 80 foot of water, some brush, some timber, but the fish were staged up. Generally, in that he said last night in the 5, 10, 15 foot range, which I saw with Kevin Underwood when we went out, and we threw flukes at him and other things. We didn't throw a Spybait. But it's just designed to come through there, and it has this little subtle wobble that, very hard to replicate here on the podcast. But if you just take your hands and just look at this, it just kind of rocks back and forth like that. It's really something that doesn't put off a lot of action, but it's really supposedly good with finicky bass. It was really hot 4 or 5 years ago. Everybody was throwing Spybaits. People were crushing on them. And then all of a sudden, it kind of just drifted away a little bit, like every new bait kind of does after a while. They never stopped catching fish, but guys were noticing it was a little bit harder to catch fish. And just like what he said last night, let me fix my TikTok guys here. Just what he said last night was that the bass, he's watching them come up on his forward-facing sonar, and when he's throwing jerk baits and stuff, they'll cruise behind it, but they won't commit to it. But then with the spy bait, they'll cruise behind it and resume. There you go. They'll cruise behind it and they would come up and they would nip. Now you got this little bitty, we're talking a finesse trailer. A finesse hook on the back of this thing. Treble, not very big at all. And he said, and I think he said this on the podcast, but I definitely know he said it before the show, because I didn't plan on talking about spy baits, that when they bite it, he doesn't lay into them hard, just kind of reels into them a little bit, but he gives them slack with the hopes of them figuring out they're hooked, and they shake it, and he's hoping to get this second treble into them because they're not coming up and hitting it from the side like that. They're coming up from the back, following, and just pecking and just getting enough to get the treble hook. Is a spy bait like the greenfish tackle DOT? I'm not exactly familiar with the DOT. I'll have to look it up myself. Margie and Jason Cooper says lighter line the better and a light rod. Yeah, it is definitely a finesse technique. You're not throwing this on a medium heavy or anything like that. You definitely got to have the parabolic bend. He was talking about, what did he say? 6 pound? 6 pound line? I can't remember. But it was something light like that. DJ actually shared a photo on his Instagram of the DI screen on how they were staged. And you'll find that a lot. You'll find that. And I know when Underwood and I went out the last time, like they would be staged up like that, and he was thinking fluke bite. And we caught some of them, but even that day they were coming up and going down. They weren't really committing to it. But I've thrown these things before in the past. Now, again, without forward-facing sonar, just blind casting it. I do think forward-facing helps, but you can blind cast it. And I remember getting hit a lot, but not hooking up very much. And so I put it down. I went with something else. I didn't have my Garmin on like that, looking at something behind it, knowing it was there. I would just cast it, count it down, slow reel, and just slow reel. You can, if you burn it, it's not as effective, in my opinion. He talked about dropping it down right on top of the brush pile before bringing it back up. And you can do that. If you know your brush pile's in 30 feet and you got 15 seconds to wait, yeah, you'll see it. It's not going to sink very fast. It'll sink steady. Haven't ever got a fish to eat a spy bait, but of course I'm fishing from the bank. And it would be a little tougher from the bank, Jeremiah, for sure. Now, Tyler says, I'm throwing a spy bait, fluke, and a jerk bait the next time I go out. I need to work on all of them. I just think, I do agree with him, like when the fish get, the bass get really finicky. And think about how we talk all the time about burning them because of herring. That this is moving, not as fast, but it is steady. And it just might be something that day that triggers a strike. Are there better options? Even I think Dashawn would say yes, but when it gets tough and you see a lot of follows and they're just kind of nosing up on it, but then, turning away, that's when he would pull out the spy bait. Sounds like a good bait for some thump gel. Yeah, that might work on it too. The DOT is a slash bait. The spy bait is similar size, but the prop spin is a little different. Okay, I wasn't familiar with the DOT from Greenfish. But yeah, and listen, they're wicked looking baits. I think Duo Realis was the one that really came over here and really kind of exploded the spy bait game, which, again, that's from overseas. I haven't seen the Spro one yet, but I have one coming because I'm going to check it out. And I might toy with it a little bit more. So, I don't know. I don't know with that. Let's see. We've almost gone an hour today. I'm going to try to keep it at about an hour today. I've got plenty of things to do. Going out on tuna Friday evening, gonna tie on a buzzbait, a spook, a chopo, and a shaky head to start with. Listen, you can't go wrong with any of those if they're hitting, right? I don't know why you guys don't throw a wacky, but that's just me. That's just me. I probably, again, am not going to fish. I'll probably go hunting. One more weekend bow season. It doesn't end. I just want to do one with a bow. Does it swim straight? Yes. It amazes me that in herring lakes you have to have straight running baits, and not many people throw a prop bait. Yes, it does, but it's not that. It's that the props is what keeps it at that level. and then the bait just has a little shimmy. I mean, if you want to throw something, if you do it right and you got the right setup and you're watching on your forward face, and if you want to run a bait 15 foot and you can bomb-ass cast it out there, get it long enough away from the boat, count it down to 15, you will see that if you reel a certain way, it will stay in that water column. So had good luck with a white spinner bait with a Berkeley deal trailer on tuna yesterday. I can see that. Spinner bait, it is time. It is time. So anyway, guys, I got jigs to tie like crazy, so I'm going to cut it short a little bit today. But I appreciate you guys stopping by. We'll be back tomorrow at 12. And also, too, tomorrow night on the Livewell, we're going to be talking Gunnersville, Chick, Grass Lakes. Danny, only an hour, and let's talk Bruiser afterwards. Yeah, we need to talk Bruiser because I actually pulled up his order sheet. But we'll do that this afternoon. But anyway, you guys have a great rest of your day. But join us tomorrow for this, and I'll have more time to talk tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, Gunnersville grass and everything, because some of the things they do out there still applies to here, even though we don't have the grass. But you got the big Ultimate Angler Tournament coming up on Gunnersville, not this weekend, but the following weekend. And not only that, you got the big bass going on same time. It's going to be crowded, but you're going to see Gunnersville in the news a lot. So with that, you guys have a great rest of your day. Be good. Don't work too hard. I'll see you guys tomorrow about the same time, and we'll have some fun then. So don't work too hard, guys. Y'all have a good rest of your day.